One of the biggest satisfactions of having been involved with the prize for quite some time now is actually that we have more young researchers around us and who are showing great progress, great interest in bringing this forward. So I'm extremely happy and thankful for that your interest and that you are here with us today.
So these are in some ways horrible spectra and yet unbelievably useful profiles of the cell wall component. In the aromatic region, just the aromatics show up. So pine or softwood lignins have just guaiacil lignins. They have the 3 peaks. I won't go into explaining why that is. But basically, that's the little profile for a guaiacil lignin. You take something like Arabidopsis that Wout mentioned. Suddenly it has syringal groups in it, guaiacil groups, and these H units. Claire mentioned also. You take poplar, S and G, also has the parahydroxybenzoate in it that we're making that Tylenol from. And then grasses have a lot of paracumarate on the lignin, as well as frulate on the cell wall. It's mostly on polysaccharides, but all of those things get profiled. Make one point that if you think you have some component in your cell wall prep by, for example, seeing a peak here, the nice thing about NMR is you need all of the data from that component. So in other words, if you suspect that this peak might be paracumarate, you better see those other pink peaks too, or it's not paracumarate. So it's very diagnostic in that way. In the side chain region, same spectra, overwhelmed by polysaccharides, but you can see the way these monomers connect. So beta ethers and phenylcumarins and so on. I won't go into this, but you can see all of those components in these complex spectra without, again, having to isolate the components. And you can actually quantify your polysaccharide distribution as well, and I won't go into that. It got better. It was never quite quantitative. Last year at the MWP, Stefania gave a nice talk, a young researcher's talk, on an improvement that allows the quantification to be done much more rigorously.
So if you look to the drone flight, there does not seem to be any yield penalty. This was a big surprise because I would really have put my hand in the fire that we would have a yield penalty, but there doesn't appear to be one. But of course you have to measure this. And so we harvested 3-year-old trees, did very strong statistics. We didn't have any yield penalty. And lignin measurements told us that there was a reduction in lignin content by 13%. It's less reduced as compared to the greenhouse, but that's something we always see. And that translated to a 90% increase in saccharification efficiency. So it means that upon an alkaline pretreatment, so it means that the biomass is more easily saccharifed because there is less lignin, cellulose microfibrils are more accessible to the enzymes. And together with Troy Runge's lab in Wisconsin in Madison, we performed kraft pulping experiments with the wild type and the 2 transgenic lines in 8 different conditions with ranging active alkali, sulfidity, and H factor. And then based on these data, and these are actually quite fresh data, models can be built and then you can ask questions to the models. So these data show you, or the model tells you that when you have conditions that with the wild type plant you reach a kappa number of 15, and the kappa number is the amount of lignin in the pulp after the pulping, that the transgenic lines will have a kappa number of 13, and at the same time they will have 1 to 2% point more crude pulp. So this is certainly interesting for the pulp and paper industry. So I've shown that gene discovery and very fundamental research in Arabidopsis can lead to very interesting and promising data for applications in biorefinery and in pulping.
Of course, Rhynia could only grow to be about 10 centimeters tall, so further adaptations and evolution was needed before trees could evolve. Those chemicals needed to evolve into polymeric lignin to provide UV protection, to waterproof and rigidify the xylem so the trees could conduct water all the way up from the roots to the top of the trees, and to basically make the wall less penetrable, to make it impenetrable to pathogens. And so I wanted to just illustrate this with a picture of a seasonal tree, this holly from my garden. Without lignin, this tree could really only grow as tall as the moss that you can see here growing on the base.
When it comes to the lignin that we use, we developed this process based on craft lignin, actually from the lignobose process that Hannah was talking about. And we have mostly used the softwood lignin that is mostly available here in Sweden. And we have tried a lot of different lignins, and what we have discovered is that we are not that sensitive to the method of producing the graphene, anything, or the lignin. They all work for us. We have quite a robust process, and it's not so sensitive. But the type of woods is makes more of an impact on the material. So hardwood works in general. We've tried eucalyptus, and that makes a beautiful graphene. The properties are slightly different, so it's suitable for different applications, but it's a good material. But we also tried birch, and that does not work at all. Neither does grass lignin, unfortunately. But otherwise, the most can be used, and we prefer the low molecular weight lignin. So if we can somehow modify the genes to make it more low molecular, that would suit us very well.
Products that then is made is this e-commerce bag. Then we're doing, this is a cable hider that we're doing for the UK market. We're also doing Scania trucks. We're actually now taking off the box for making trucks out of our material. We're doing shower units now for the UK market. Just one shower unit in UK market is 200 tons. Just for the UK market, one shower unit. So once you enter the market, each item is quite large in volume. And this is PP. This is our strongest candidate. We mix in up to 40% of our material, preserving material properties, and then you can have a range of different colors.
90% of the lignin available, technical lignin available today, is craft lignin. So how can we make added value out of this? We have developed a scalable, economically valuable method to produce these lignin nanoparticles. It's very simple. You take the lignin, you dissolve it in an organic solvent, and then you pour it into water, and spontaneously it forms these spherical particles. And it's quite, we can use different kind of lignins, and it's also, there's now a startup company, Lignosphere, who is trying to make money out of this, so trying to commercialize the application possibilities of this one.
I began my career as a process engineer, and during that time I had the great opportunity to be responsible for the process design and also part of the startup crew that started up the world's largest craft lignin production plant so far. I'm here today to talk about lignin production in industrial scale. The technologies to produce the lignin in industrial scale is already available. The technologies to produce valuable products out of the lignin, it's also available.
So you may ask, is new ligno available commercially? And I'm pleased to announce that yes, new ligno is commercially available in industrial scale. It is ideal to be used in mineral wool insulation and wood panels.
We have now brought this lignin to the market in its different forms. We have started actually with fragrances because it was a low-hanging fruit. This has been validating. We today sell these molecules to DSM Firmenich, a large Swiss, now Dutch or half Dutch Swiss company. We have validated coatings, materials, but given the time we have today, I would like just to go into the most recent application that is in the world of resins.